This is the latest remnant fly. This is a small little nymph kind of thing, probably more of a panfish nymph grub than an actual trout. You could, or even steelhead maybe. And this is tied with an Ahrex hook, which I'll explain a little bit in the video. And it has some glow-in-the-dark Squirmy Wormy for the body and some glitter beads from Hareline. All items I ran across in my kit. Got the idea for a little bit of a fly together, and this is what we ended up with. I'm actually interested to see maybe this winter or spring throwing this into some panfish water around here if it produces anything. That is the latest remnant fly. I'll get started tying. I'm going to start this remnant fly. First off, talking about this hook. In my kit of remnant stuff, I have a couple of bags, 2 or 3 bags actually, from various retail fly tying shows that I've gone to over the years. They hand out samples of new or existing materials that they have. And a long time ago, I got this little sample pack of some Ahrex hooks. This particular one happens to be the HR 430. It's a tube single and a number 6. Looks to me similar to, I think Mustad's got a small curved caddis hook, or even like a Tiemco 105, something like that. Now I'm going to use this. I'm going to have to debarb the hook on this because I'm going to also put a bead on it. In that same kit, I'm rummaging around and found these things from Hareline called Glitty Tungsten Beads. And I have a green and silver, or peacock chartreuse, 7/32, I think is what it is. But this is what they look like. They look like they've got some sort of glitter that's been adhered to them. And here's the one that I'm going to use for this. If I can get it around the bend of the hook, I'm not certain, which may mean that I'm doing something else with this. All of this is the first time. I just grab this stuff out of the bag and then and start messing with it and see what will work. There we go. I was able to pop that around the corner. Even with the debarb, the debarbed hook, I don't think made a difference. It's such a sharp corner back here on the back that I think that that's what was the issue. Now, since I got this together, found this stuff, obviously we're pointing towards a nymph or something. So I also found some glow-in-the-dark Squirmy Wormy. I thought it'd be nice to have a thicker body up in here of something, and this glow-in-the-dark Squirmy Wormy was there, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to use some Unithread 8/0 in orange for this, because I'm going to end up with an orange Grizzly Hen Hackle palmered up by the bead. And I'm going to wrap this all the way down, pretty much past the barb, right about here, and I'm going to tie in a tail. Looking at different things, I grabbed a whole bag of some, remnant tips from different things. I grabbed this Chartreuse Schlappen right here. I'm not looking for a long tail or a full tail, just a little something trailing behind. I think this is going to end up being more of a panfish nymph than, say, a trout nymph, but it's kind of big on the trout nymph side, but you certainly could go with that if you want. Now I'm going to tie in the Squirmy Wormy here, and this stuff's pretty stretchy, so I'm going to start out stretching it pretty thin, and then less. So hopefully I get a bit of a taper here. I am going to actually wrap down a little bit further. I want that tail to kind of stick out at a downward angle. And I'm going to tie in just the tip of this little squirmy wormy here, stretching that out, getting that down to the end of the body here, and coming back up, trying to minimize getting any bump in the back there. And then I'm going to bring this forward. Now, if you're new to the remnant flies and what they are, there is an introductory video and a link in the description down below that will explain it. These are essentially live flies made from remnants of material from various classes or projects, meaning that I've never tied this before. All of this, I find these materials that are left over, I get an idea in my head, it evolves into something, and then I do it. And whether it turns out good or whether it turns out bad, whether it turns out the way I wanted it to or not, is what is recorded and what it's all about. As you see, so probably, that's interesting, I could probably use a lighter thread because that squirmy wormy is getting a little translucent as I'm wrapping that on, especially when it's real thin. And notice I'm getting it a little bit, not stretching it quite as much, but maybe we come back a few and stretch it even less. Right about here. Very easy to overstretch this stuff. I mean, doesn't take much of anything to actually stretch it out. So maybe that translucence in the back, when it's real thin, you could work to your advantage. You could certainly put a wire in this if you wanted to. Now I got a bug that has some glow in the dark to it. A few wraps back here. I'm going to take a Grizzly Hen. This is just the very tip, and I'm only going to put a couple wraps around on this. I just want to see, put some legs up there, how it's going to look. Again, these are kind of experimental flies in that they will get fished, see how they do, and if it does very, very well, then maybe further development goes into it. But the main purpose is to kind of use up some of these little snippets and remnants that are laying around. They're still good for something, and maybe see if they can't go to a fly that works. I'm going to fold these back, get 2 or 3 wraps. Given the size of the hook, I don't mind if the hackles get a little bit large on this and the legs. I'm more interested in it looking kind of full and juicy. That might be a little too full, but we'll keep that in mind. So with that, a couple wraps, finish securing that in, and whip finish. And our remnant fly is done. Yeah, that's a little bit, I don't know. Portion's always kind of an odd thing with these offcuts and everything. I wanted a hackle that was maybe about just the gap of the hook. But I am certain that drifted down through some panfish water will definitely produce. Be interesting to see, take this out at night and actually activate that and see how much that glows under the water. I don't know. But there is the latest remnant fly on an Ahrex hook with a little bit of glitter bead and glow-in-the-dark Squirmy Wormy. Thanks for watching today. Thanks for joining me at Devise today. I hope you learned at least a new pattern, if not a new technique, maybe a tip or trick here and there. If you have any questions about this fly or any of the techniques used in constructing this pattern, please leave them in the comments section down below. If you go to the trouble to ask a question, I'll go to the trouble to answer it. If you'd like to help Dressed Irons, please share this video with your friends and anybody you think that might enjoy this pattern. Until next time, remember, it's fly tying. If you're not having fun, then you're doing it wrong.